The floor is open basically to for the audience. If you have any questions to the filmmakers, please.
I have a question to Alex. So in your films, to me, it's like, okay, a Chinese is studying, it started, so the Chinese guys kind of have a crush on this woman who play pianos, right?
Yeah.
But then the relationship actually couldn't start until the guys finished learning Kung Fu. You know, after the guy finished learning Kung Fu or have the skills,
Yeah.
that relationship kind of fade out because he lost the woman and then it appeared to be a man or something. So to me, like from audience readings, it's like the development of the European or the Dutch identity and the Chinese identity cannot be parallel to happen together at the same time. So can you ever imagine, like, is it possible for the guy to study Kung Fu at the same time as dating a Dutch woman, or like how could it be happen parallelly, or one have to sacrifice the time for the Chinese identity first, then you will have to go to the Dutch side of it?
Yeah, in the story you can see that the Chinese boy tried to impress the girl with Kung Fu. But if you see in real life, you have two different cultures, then you may have a balance within the two cultures to combine, to have a relationship together. And that is something you have to seek for it. And that is, I think, the most important to set your mind free and to open up yourself to other cultures, because that is, I think, the key thing for this. Yeah.
But do you ever think this kind of that can, like, as you film as an example, like can something happen parallel? It's like the Chinese identity and the Dutch identity actually exist together at the same time.
I think that is possible. Between parallel lines between the Eastern and Western relationship with the cultures where you grew up, because this guy he's grown up in Holland, although he got a Chinese background, but he speaks Dutch, you know, and the same language, and the medium for them was their own specialties, and the relation which they built up during these times. Yeah.
Any questions? Yeah.
Out of curiosity, what did you thought of each other's films?
Well, I think Rishi's film was beautiful, and Alex's film was sweet.
I feel his film is
different flavors, I think, big mix up, and that's nice, I think.
I feel Patrick's film is very meaningful, and his film is fun, and it reminded me of Bollywood actually.
What I do think is it's very great that you have really diverse subjects and interests. You put your focus on, and but still, what's striking is there's no other reference system outside the reference system given from the dominant society. For example, I mean, I do not want to go much deeper into it, because the panel following this one would be also touching on this subject. But for example, in your film, the Asianness is explicit through Kung Fu, right?
Yeah.
The male teenager has to follow this track because there's no reference system outside. So Jackie Chan and Kung Fu,
Yeah.
all right?
You have to take the first step,
Right.
for instance.
And whereas the white female, and she plays piano, right? And he has to rescue her through Kung Fu. There's no other way. So, and it, you know, that's a heterosexual male rescues women, and also Kung Fu, and the Kung Fu guy rescues the white girl. So that's a given set in a culturally diverse society as we live in right now. But you still choose to follow the track given to you. It's not meant as a reproach, but it's interesting how you deal with your subjects individually, but also socially and issue-wise. Did you think about that? Or
Well, actually, because I first look at what kind of movie I want to make, because I definitely want to put music in it, and music, and martial arts, because I'm fond of martial arts. So that is for me, the given road, yeah? So I got these two topics, and so I just make it a medium for this guy to walk like this. But I'm not like, I'm not closing up the option that in future films that that guy always have to do martial art or something. But for me, this was the first thing to do. Yeah.
okay, it's also just your personal reference and your personal interest and taste. All right. Okay. I'll keep track of this because to me it seems there's a really point of identification and what's up there for you to follow up, what's given culturally from the society, and what is evaluated, what puts into self-esteem, what raises you in your kind of identical track and to find to yourself or to culture, to multicultural identities in general. Being a member of minorities, and you all chose actually representational subjects. And I'm a filmmaker myself and scriptwriter, and I think a lot about representation. And representation is a very ambivalent term for me, because it's there's a need to represent, of course, you know, what makes our society, what's the difference, and what's different for me, what makes me different from the others, and we need symbols and signs for that. But at the same time, as soon as you have signs and put up like flag, you mark the difference, and there's no other boundaries possible to go beyond the boundaries. So it's kind of a cultural trap, and you have always to deal with that. But actually, I want to make it here short, and if there aren't any more questions, I invite you to stay longer here to the panel discussion, and hope to see you later on. And thanks for attending.